Welcome to Baby's Birthday. Each show joins a mum-to-be and counts down to the birth of their baby, revealing all the drama, laughter and tears involved in giving birth. Because let's be honest, giving birth is never a walk in the park. To help chart each birth, this is the Baby's Birthday Clock. It's there to count down to each mum's due date. And once labour kicks off, the clock kicks in and times the birth so you know exactly how long each mum's been in labour, whether it's 2 hours or a whopping 20 hours. All the action of the birth is boiled down into a half-hour show. So, we'd better crack on. Today we meet Anna Marie and her partner Steve, who are having their first child together. This mammoth labour isn't for the faint-hearted. 30-year-old IT teacher Anna Marie and her car salesman partner Steve have decided now is the time to bring a baby into their lives.
We decided now was the right time because I'd just turned 30. Steve's not getting any younger either, and I'm quite okay in my career now, and we've got our house and everything's settled.
It takes quite a long while for Anna Marie to conceive, and we were beginning to sort of think that it wasn't going to happen.
I took a pregnancy test. I couldn't wait for Steve to get home, so I did it in the morning on my own, and then sent him a text message saying that he was going to be a dad, because I didn't know whether or not he was busy with a client or not.
And as it was, I was sat at my desk with a customer at the time when the text message came through, and I sort of looked at it and thought, right, I couldn't get away to go and sort of say like, great, you know, and is everything okay, and you know, are you sure, etc. Because it means a lot to both of us, really. It's something, like I say, that we really did sit down and think about and work out and plan. And she was absolutely made up. She was so pleased.
My mum was over the moon when I told her. She didn't believe me at first. I actually went down to my mum and my dad's and sat there and told them, but didn't come straight out with it at first. And my dad got it straight away and he was over the moon and shouting, "Ah, yeah, ah, yeah." And then my mum finally got it and hit me across the face. By accident, because she was so happy that she jumped up and was screaming.
Oh, I was really excited. It took me a few minutes to cotton on what she was telling me. But yeah, I can't wait for the new baby. Really excited.
Anna Marie and Steve have planned every detail of the labour. The only detail they're left in the dark about is the sex of the baby.
Quite happy that if they have to do a C-section, then that's what they've got to do to get the baby out. I have informed everybody that if they have to put me out to do the C-section, not to let anybody else know before I do what the sex of the baby is, because I want to be the first, well, near enough the first as possible to know. But no, it's not the labour's just not fazing me whatsoever. It's got to come out one way or the other, and if it comes out with a C-section, then that's how it comes out. If it comes out naturally, then even better.
A day before her due date, Anna Marie goes to the hospital to get induced. Because of a recurring migraine problem, doctors have advised her to get her labour started early.
The first 2 days while we were in hospital were quite boring because we were induced once in the morning and then we had to wait around 6 hours to see whether or not it actually worked.
About half of women who are given inducing gels go into labour. For some, these gels don't work and they have to get their waters broken. Time will only tell.
We took her for a walk around the hospital, went back. Nothing happened within the first 6 hours.
Had another lot of gel put in. Had to wait again another 6 hours, and as they were only give you 2 lots of gel in one day, it was then a case of just waiting and reading magazines and playing Scrabble.
We sat there and we really encouraged her. Nothing.
And then everybody left and I went to bed. The next morning we had to wait again for some more gel to be used. Then we had to wait 6 hours for that. And then during that time, I did start to get a few contractions.
Because Anna Marie's cervix isn't ready, she needs an application of prostaglandin gel to help soften her cervix. This is usually left in place for 4 to 12 hours, certainly enough time to take a wander to stimulate the baby.
Again, it was just a case of walking around the hospital, trying to get everything moving.
Mind you, it was a lovely day, so it was nice to walk outside. And then come back, still nothing. So we all sat there and had a cup of coffee and game of Scrabble.
Eating crisps, drinking pop, and generally just waiting around, which was very boring and monotonous.
No.
As one day ends, another one starts. Sheila resorts to unusual methods of coaxing the baby out.
Well, I'm sewing the buttons on the cardigans that I've just finished, and I think the baby might just be waiting for me to finish them off and put the buttons on. This is the third day. We've been coming backwards and forwards. Now we're waiting to go back now to see if things have progressed or the doctors are going to break the waters just to move things along a bit. Baby's become very lazy and it says, I don't want to come out, I'm nice and snug.
It's now been 24 hours since Anna Marie had her third and final inducing gel. Her labour has officially started and her waters have been broken, and she's been put on a drip to jumpstart her contractions.
When they first had put the drip in, the contractions were really low and I had a horrendous backache. So the nice midwife got my mum and my partner to get some olive oil and just to rub me back.
And just to try and sort of help and ease the pain and make Anna Marie feel a little bit more comfortable. That's why we were massaging her back, or rather why I was massaging her back.
It was more in her back than the actual contractions around her stomach, which is not unusual. Some girls get it in the back more than they do in the front.
And I was walking or trying to walk and move and leaning over the bed in different ways just to try and relieve the pain. But unfortunately it didn't work and it got worse.
The drip has now been cranked up to the max. Its effectiveness is noticeable when routine checks are carried out by the midwife. Sheila and Steve can only watch as Anna Marie copes with the increasing pain.
Well, I felt really sorry for her because I knew she had a long way to go yet, and it was only the start of the labour.
It's all right. It's only because you're lying down. It's always worse when you're lying down.
It hurts more.
It's all right.
I felt really, my hands were tied. I couldn't do anything for her. And it's not a nice feeling when you can't actually do something for your own daughter. It's very, very hard. Very hard.
You just don't know what to do for the best. It's just such a difficult situation to handle. You're at the mercy of the medical staff, the midwives, the doctors, the anaesthetists and everybody. And they very much let these things take their natural course in time. All you can do is sit there and wait and be there in the best supportive role you can possibly offer.
It's good too now. A lot thinner than it was before.
Fantastic.
I was just trying to make sure that those waters had gone. I did a bit of sweep as well at the same time. And again, just to make sure what position this baby's in. Just to make doubly sure that we know where it is. But it's really, really difficult to do that at 2 centimetres, obviously.
After I'd had the first internal, after the waters had been broken, I decided that I'd go ahead with an epidural because I was in so much pain and I thought it would help to relieve it and that we could actually get on with going into labour nicely without having to worry about everything.
So yeah, I was happy with it. We talked about it and we both agreed that yeah, it was probably the thing to do at the time.
You're probably aware that you're able to move around the bed and your legs don't feel heavy or anything. With an epidural, your legs may feel heavy, you may be not as mobile as you are at the moment. However, you should be able to move around in the bed, but I wouldn't be expecting you to run a flight of stairs or walk around outside, okay?
The epidural is always given by an anaesthetist who inserts the needle into the spine to numb the lower half of the body. This process can be hard to watch for loved ones. Steve takes a walk outside to reflect.
Feeling quite excited now. Something's finally happening. It's been a long 2 days. I'm reckoning probably between 4 and 6 in the morning that we'll have an addition to the family. But then I'm no expert. We'll see how right my prediction is.
The contractions are still the same, but they're not as vicious, even though they are. They're just bearable. Whereas before I just couldn't cope with them whatsoever. Because rather than at the front, it's all at the back, which could be where the baby's lying. So.
Close your eyes.
The old-fashioned method of using an ice cube tests whether the epidural has numbed the bottom half of Anna Marie's body. The less sensation, the better.
It's definitely working better on the left. What about the contractions? Are you feeling them on either side?
Yeah, it's still
They're not painful.
How can I explain them? Because I'm getting them in the back.
Yeah, you're feeling it in the back.
Front.
Okay.
I'm still feeling them in the back, but it's taken that nasty edge off.
We'll examine her in another 4 hours.
I still feel a
Just
little bit, but nothing.
Just try and get these contractions stronger and more regular with the syntocin on drip, and just see how things go.
Coming up, if Anna Marie doesn't give birth in the next 24 hours, she may have to go under the knife.
You've got
to do it.
Welcome back. It's been a waiting game for Anna Marie and her family. It's now been a whopping 62 hours since she was admitted to hospital, and for some, that's far too long.
At first I thought that they would just be there just for a bit of support, but I found them really invaluable.
Steve's just pulled out this tree, aren't you, babes? I'm sorry.
It was nice to just have two people in there that you could rely on and trust, that were looking out for the best for you.
It's just one of them drip things. Just such a long time, and it's just so long. It's just really hard.
Well, at some points we were bored, and then at another point my Anna Marie was actually doing okay, and she was quite, I'm not going to say chilled out. Breathe through it. Sat there playing cards at the end of the bed and just passing the time quite gently, you know. And then when she did have a little sleep, and Steve had tried to have a little sleep in the chair, but it only lasted about half an hour, 3/4 of an hour. And then everything sort of like kicked off from there on. And I was never allowed to sit down again.
With a change in shift comes a change in midwife, and Rona hasn't come alone. She's brought a male student midwife. Over 20 years ago, men won the battle to be registered as midwives. They now make up 0.3% of the midwives in Britain. Even today, not all women are comfortable with a man delivering their baby.
I wasn't bothered about having a male midwife because they've got to learn, so it didn't really bother me.
No, it didn't seem weird to me. I mean, we live in the 21st century these days. Absolutely no problem. He's there to learn his job, obviously under supervision, but he's got to be given the opportunity to sort of do his hands-on training, if you will. No problem at all to me.
The job of a midwife is a difficult one. Sometimes even the most experienced midwives have their troubles.
It is improving the cervix. It's thinning nicely. The opening to the neck of the womb is now a bit posterior, which means it's at the back. I've only got little fat squidgy hands, so doctor's nice and slim fingers, so I've asked her to recheck it, and we've got it spot on. She's happy with the trace, happy with what we're doing. We're just waiting for the anaesthetist to come to give her a top up on her epidural because of her backache.
Deep breathing.
Breathe deep.
Breathe.
You have to.
Yes, you've got to.
Anna Marie.
You've got
You have to do it.
An epidural is not a fail-safe method of pain relief. Anna Marie has decided to take it to ease her back pain, but it's not always that simple.
Didn't work, basically. They kept coming and topping it up and having a look, see if it needed reciting, and then just topping it up again. Now we understand now that it just didn't work.
Before Rona's long 11-hour shift ends, she takes one last look at how the baby is developing. She finds that the baby is back to back.
The baby's facing the wrong way and it's back to back, okay? Baby's on your back. Yeah, I knew exactly what they meant when they said it was back to back. Baby was facing up instead of facing her back.
that is probably why the back pain was actually more severe than what it should have been, because I have read that when you've got a back-to-back baby, because it's lying on your back, it hurts even more.
You're really good. That's fine. That means baby's moving round.
What they were saying was that the baby wasn't quite in the right position, face down, more sort of a head turned sideways and looking back up towards sort of the top right corner of the womb. But that was just the information that I gleaned at the time, so at that point, no, not unduly worried at all.
Julie, the midwife, is back on shift for the second time in 12 hours. She gives Anna-Marie another internal to find out whether it's worth repositioning the epidural needle. At 9 centimetres dilated, it's ultimately Anna-Marie's decision.
Listen, do you think you can put up with this pain for another hour?
As long as I've got the gas in it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah?
I don't think I would have been able to sit still to have it actually put into my back, because you do have to sit really still. And at that point the contractions were, if I remember rightly, they were coming every couple of minutes. The pains were still there, even taking the gas and air, but it did take the edge off of them. I must have taken that much that I just wasn't with it or with anybody.
After being in labour 20.5 hours and still being 9 centimetres dilated, the doctor decides that enough is enough. Anna-Marie has been on the centosinal drip for far too long. A decision has to be made.
She's still 9 centimetres, which she was an hour ago. We still think the baby's in the posterior position, it's looking upwards. Its head's a little bit deflex, that's why we can feel that little fontanelle on the top. So he's decided she's been on the drip long. We've given it a good go. The baby's not for turning, and so it's not descending. Her cervix isn't going anymore, so we're going to take her in for Cesarean section. We'll just get her ready and then we'll take her out.
When they said and mentioned about a C-section, I was relieved. I was more relieved than anything, because something in the back of my head was saying that me and the baby were in danger, or that we had to get the baby out there and then.
So it was just a question of, like I say, getting the theatre prepared, administering the anaesthesia, and then I knew that a Cesarean, from what I've seen on TV and stuff like that, I knew that it was something in the region of probably a 3 to 5 minute operation.
I didn't panic. I was worried for both of them. Because everything happened so quick and they weren't hanging around. All I wanted to know that they were both okay. And now I kept listening at the door to hear the baby cry.
Anything, do we?
It was just a brilliant feeling. You just look at this tiny little bundle and think, blimey, I'm a dad. You know, it's a fabulous feeling. I do remember that I think it was the midwife said to me, can you see what you've got? And I sort of looked, and I looked again, and I thought, I've got to double check. I feel really stupid if I get this wrong. You know, because I'm sure it's a girl. Yeah, it's got to be a girl. Yeah, it's a girl.
When I was in the operating theatre and I found out that it was a girl and that it was all over with, I was really happy. But unfortunately I couldn't show it because I was so drugged up.
Anna-Marie can be safe in the knowledge that her new baby girl weighs in at a healthy 7 pounds 8 ounces.
After the baby had been born and Steve and the nurse brought the baby out to show me, I just broke down. I could do it now, because it was such relief to know that they were both okay. Sorry. Hello, you little monkey. Very, very proud. I'm very proud of Anna-Marie. Very proud. Yeah, she really did work hard for that baby.
I don't think a marathon runner goes through that much punishment. I really don't. It was just so long and so drawn out, and it's just one of them, you know, there's nothing you could do about it. But yeah, I was proud of her. And I don't know what else to say.
I forgot everything. I'm just so pleased that we've got our little girl now and happy to have her with us.
After a long week recovering in hospital, Anna Marie finally brings her home.
I was so relieved to bring her home. It's been, the house is upside down with baby stuff everywhere, but she's been really, really good. She hardly cries, touch wood. And at night it's 4 hours sleep, then feed, and then another 4 hours sleep. And sometimes it's 2, but we can cope with that, and it's just nice to be home and in my own surroundings.
It's fantastic Anna Marie's home now, and she's doing really fantastic, and that baby's just wonderful. She's the apple of my eye and her dad's eye. She's, neither of them can do anything wrong, I'm afraid.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Bring it on. Let's just get on with it, and look forward to all those happy times and all the things like, oh, crikey, first word and first step, and yeah, it's great.
After 2.5 days of being induced and 22 hours of labour, with epidurals, drips, male midwives and a cesarean section, Anna Marie is rewarded with a beautiful baby girl, Jessica Lily.
The baby's beautiful, and I'm so proud of Anna Marie. Really, really proud. And they're really coming on nice now they're at home, yeah.
It's just a great experience. You can't explain what being a dad is, the experience. Because it's different for everybody, and everybody takes different things from it. But it just makes me very, very proud of Jessica, proud of Anna Marie, and I'll just keep on going with the flow, I guess.
I feel more complete in myself, as if that's what I was meant to do, was have a little girl that I can look after and cherish. And I've become more aware of things as well, to protect her.